think about the last time you poured a glass of milk. It's the ultimate symbol of purity, isn't it? We've been told since we were toddlers that it's the foundation of growth and health. But if you peel back that innocent white surface, you find a world that looks less like a farm and more like a high-stakes conspiracy thriller. There's a side to the dairy industry that involves billion-dollar heists, organized crime, and some truly chilling political cover-ups. It's what people in the industry sometimes whisper about as the milk mafia, and the stories are honestly wilder than any fiction. Take the story of Parmalat in Italy back in 2003. At the time, they were the absolute kings of the global dairy market, a symbol of national pride. But it turns out the whole empire was built on a lie. We're talking about a 14 billion euro black hole. The executives were essentially masters of illusion, forging bank documents to pretend they had billions stashed away in offshore accounts. They used that phantom money to buy up soccer teams and TV networks, all while greasing the palms of politicians to keep the authorities looking the other way. When the house of cards finally collapsed, it wasn't just a corporate failure. It wiped out the life savings of thousands of regular people who thought milk was the safest investment on Earth. But as bad as the financial fraud was, it doesn't compare to the human cost we saw in China in 2008. This is probably one of the darkest chapters in food history. Some producers were watering down their milk to increase profits, but to pass quality control tests for protein levels, they added melamine, a chemical used to make plastic. They were literally feeding plastic to infants. Over 300,000 babies got sick with kidney stones, and some didn't make it. The truly haunting part is the mafia element behind the scenes. Local officials actually knew about the contamination for months, but they kept it quiet because they didn't want anything to ruin the public image of the Beijing Olympics. They chose a perfect international reputation over the lives of children. You might wonder how we all became so convinced that milk is an absolute must-have in the first place. If you look at the history of the US dairy lobby, the answer isn't purely medical, it's deeply political. After World War II, the US had a massive surplus of milk, and the government started buying it up to keep farmers from going broke. To move all that extra liquid, they had to engineer a culture that craved it. They lobbied to make milk a mandatory part of the food pyramid and launched iconic campaigns like Got Milk to make it part of our identity. Even today, as modern science questions whether we actually need that much dairy for bone health, the lobby is so powerful that milk remains a staple in every school lunch, regardless of what the latest nutrition research says. Then there's the hidden chemistry of it all. To squeeze every last drop of profit out of a cow, many countries allow the use of growth hormones like RBGH. This spikes a substance in the milk called IGF-1, which some scientists have linked to early puberty in children and even certain types of cancer. But here's where the mafia tactics really come out. When smaller independent farmers tried to label their milk as hormone-free to give consumers a choice, giant corporations like Monsanto actually sued them. They argued that putting no hormones on a label made the hormone-injected milk look bad. They used their massive legal budgets to bully anyone who tried to be transparent, essentially forcing a don't ask, don't tell policy onto your grocery shelf. The dairy industry is more than just an agricultural product. It's a vast financial and political network where the whiteness of milk is sometimes used to cover up the darkness of its dealings. From genetically modifying cows to backroom lobbying to include milk in school meals, it makes you realize that sometimes the very things we trust the most are the ones we should examine most closely.